We are born in the vault, we live in the vault, we die in the vault. Fans of Fallout 3 will remember those words, as they serve as the official motto for Vault 101 residents. But this was more than just a motto. It served as a way of life, as this vault was never open. No chance of outside contact. No chance of the fabled reclamation day as seen in, say, Vault 76. No, just complete and utter isolation. What would happen to a group of humans who were cut off from the rest of the world indefinitely? How would their relative isolation from the world affect them physically and mentally? Those were the questions which the pre-war company known as Vault-Tec wanted to answer when the vault was first being conceived. But the experiment ran deeper than anyone could actually comprehend. The majority of vaults we come across in the world of Fallout were originally disguised as underground shelters of the modern age, facilities designed to meet the needs of human beings in a time of despair, a last refuge for humanity that can be used to help rebuild the world by preserving a small amount of society's best. But in reality, they were sick and sadistic social and biological experiments that subjected vault inhabitants to some of the most horrifying and mind-breaking conditions you can think of. Vault 101 was different. For its grand experiment, there was no DNA splicing or FEV injections. There was no forced sacrificing or sabotage. No prolonged cryogenic studies or grisly undertakings. No, the original purpose was to study the role of the overseer. Vault 101 was constructed sometime in the 2060s in Washington, D.C. This vault was equipped with anything someone needed, such as food, clean water, recreation, and entertainment. But it did lack critical components, such as spare parts for a water processor, and of course the illustrious Garden of Eden creation kit. In 2077, the first overseer of the vault would prevent anyone from leaving. This was done through the use of fake radio transmissions that were recorded before the war. These transmissions increased the idea among residents that the vault was their best home. The next overseer, who took over in the year 2127, had continued the trend of playing back these fake transmissions and doubled down on the isolationist doctrine through regular recantings of the vault's mantra. Overseers of Vault 101 weren't just chosen by lottery or vote. In fact, all of them served as secret employees of Vault-Tec, and through their regular propaganda campaigns, they helped indoctrinate many to the idea of isolation. Well, not everyone. Sometime in 2241, an unnamed Vault 101 overseer would become open to setting up outside contact. They would assemble a survey team led by Ann Palmer, the mother of Jonas Palmer. They took proper steps to arm themselves and theorize the different types of mutations they might encounter. On February 10, 2241, the team would arrive in the nearby settlement called Megaton. On the same day, they would return to the vault with their samples and notes, while leaving two members of the survey team in Megaton to serve as contacts between the two settlements. Had this communication between Vault 101 and Megaton continued, more than likely it would have resulted in the Vault-Tec's experiments being completely compromised, and Vault 101 might have established a working relationship with outside settlements. For better or worse, the Vault inhabitants would have been affected, and the prospect of enforcing the isolationist ideas would have been futile. The survey team would continue their work under the direction of the next overseer. After 2258, this overseer would vanish in a wasteland, never to be seen again. The next overseer, Alphonse Almodovar, would end all survey team missions after this tragedy. Between 2258 and 2259, Overseer Almodovar would change Vault 101 into a police state for strict isolationist policy. Vault-Tec security would increase in size and force and double down on the rules of conduct in the vault. The overseer would make himself appear as all-knowing and all-powerful. During this time, however, the vault would be opened once more. Not for another survey team, but for a destitute scientist and his infant son. Dr. James, having heard of tales of vault dwellers living in Megaton, made his way across the capital wasteland carrying his infant son. He arrived in Megaton accompanied by Brotherhood of Steel Paladin, seeking to know the whereabouts of Vault 101. After speaking with a saloon owner by the name of Colin Morality, James found an old wooden doorway which led to the vault's entrance. On the intercom, he spoke with Overseer Almodovar, who at the time was short on medical staff. James would propose to become the vault's new physician in return for entry for him and his child. The overseer accepted, not knowing this decision would result in major changes for the vault more than a decade later. Dr. James would raise his child in Vault 101, who of course we know will later become the Lone Wanderer. Throughout their childhood, they would be ignorant of their actual origins. As part of the deal, not only would James serve as Vault 101's doctor, but also promised to keep the knowledge of the outside world secretive from all, including his own child. In the late 2260s, Jonas Palmer, the son of Ann Palmer, was appointed by the overseer to be Dr. James' new assistant. During this time, the vault would open again. This time, a girl whose name is lost to time had escaped to the vault and made her way to Megaton. It's not known how she got out, but it's possible that she used the secret exit found beneath the overseer's desk within the overseer's office. A similar incident would occur in 2272, as another vault dweller would make their way to Megaton and provide the tales of brainwashing to Colin Morality. Despite the attempts to isolate, the cat was well out of the bag at this point. Even if Vault 101 wanted to stay cut off, too many residents had already heard multiple tales about the vault door being open. What occurred next would change the vault forever. On August 17, 2277, Vault 101 residents would wake up to the sounds of alarms announcing a major infestation of rat roaches. Vault 101 had always had rat roaches, but this infestation was one of immense proportions. On this day, the vault lost 2 residents, Floyd Lewis and Vicki Hannon, along with critical injuries done to Paul Hannon Jr., who would die 2 days later. During the madness, Dr. James decides to use this as his opportunity to escape the vault once and for all, in the process leaving behind their son or daughter. The departure ends up being detrimental, as vault security attempts to hunt them down and kill them. It's during this early part of the game when the player can actually influence events in the vault to come much later after the Lone Wanderer returns. For instance, we can make friends and a future companion if we aid our old bully, Bush Delora, who needs help fighting off rat roaches attacking his mother. When we find Amada being interrogated by her father, the Overseer, and Officer Matt, we have the option of killing both the Overseer and Officer Matt, or just Officer Matt. If this happens, the vault will be under the leadership of another Overseer. While making your way to the entrance, you stumble upon Tom and Mary Holden, who plan to leave the vault as James did, but unfortunately they're gunned down in the attempt. If you're able to reach the guards and kill them, the couple will be able to escape the vault. But you'll also be killing 2 vault security guards. The Lone Wanderer eventually manages to get to the Overseer's office and access the terminal to open up the secret entranceway. But while on the Overseer's terminal, the Lone Wanderer stumbles upon various files which present a different story of Vault 101. Once the rat roaches were clear and the alarms went silent, the Overseer became more oppressive than ever. The isolationist policy is doubled down, rules get stricter, vault security cracks down harder on discontent, and a new faction of rebels emerges, led by the Overseer's daughter, Amada Almodovar. She secures and holds up the vault clinic, protesting for the vault door to be opened. The issue here divides the vault between those who wanted to open it up to communication to the outside world and those who wanted to remain isolated. During the quest, Trouble on the Home Front, we learn more about the conditions of the vault since the Lone Wanderer's departure and the growing needs of its inhabitants. Besides the obvious benefits such as establishing communications to the outside world, Vault 101's inhabitants by the 2280s were in need of supplies and a bigger population. Not only were food rations at their lowest, but also the birth rate. As for the last 2 decades, the population of the vault had grown smaller and smaller. The vault faced inevitable circumstances of genetic stagnation and inbreeding if they didn't do something. Returning back to the vault, you have the choice of aiding the Overseer in suppressing the rebellion or helping the rebels establish a new regime in the vault and end centuries of isolation. Let's now explore those options together. The simplest way to keep the residents of Vault 101 sealed is just by ignoring the call on your radio. Simply just let the transmission play on the Pip-Boy once and turn it off. Like many missions in Fallout 3, you don't have to complete it in order to advance the game. As a lone wanderer, maybe you feel like you don't owe your old friends a thing. After all, the entire vault practically turned on you during the day your father left. But of course, that option isn't fun, just convenient. Once you enter the vault, you can just kill Amada and the other rebels. This will give you bad karma, and the entire vault will turn against you. You can also persuade Amada to just stay in the vault by passing a speech check. And lastly, you can hack the Overseer's computer to get a message from the Enclave who are trying to gain entry to the vault. This attempt was forwarded by Overseer Omodovar. This will give you proof to the rebels that the dangers of the outside world are real, and the Overseer is just there to protect them. Going this route doesn't lose you any karma since you aren't actually lying to Amada, as by this point the player has encountered the Enclave and knows full well their intentions for the Wasteland, most importantly the residents of the vault, but more on that later. In order to open the vault, we can kill the Overseer, which will upset Amada, but will allow her to step in as the next Overseer. If you have already killed the Overseer during the quest Escape, you will be dealing with Alamet, who will not be reasoned with. If you want to keep the Overseer alive, you can pass a speech check and convince him to open up the vault or trick him into showing that security is planning an assault against his orders. If the Overseer lives, he steps down and appoints Amada as the next Overseer. This gives you positive karma, but you are forced to leave the vault forever. There is a third option. You can hack the computer terminal in the sub-basement, or steal the password from Stanley the maintenance man, and sabotage the vault's water chip. If Stanley is working nearby while this occurs, he instantly dies. Now everyone in the vault is forced to evacuate. If you choose this option, Vault 101 will cease to be. The vault inhabitants are forced to vacate their home and endure the dangerous capital wasteland. And later on, in a random encounter, you will run across Amada being interrogated by Enclave soldiers on the whereabouts of Vault 101. If she gives up the location, she is executed. If you save her, she will scold you and run off, never to be seen again. This encounter with the Enclave is more troubling when you consider the relationship between the shadow governmental entity and Vault-Tec itself. Many of the original control vaults, such as Vault 13, would serve as a one-stop shop for new potential human subjects for Enclave experiments. Just like Vault 13, Vault 101 was never meant to be open, thus ensuring that the population would be unaffected by any nuclear radiation. It's very possible that the Enclave wanted to capture the residents of Vault 101 in order to test the effects of the FEV virus, as this is what happened to the residents of Vault 13 at the very beginning of Fallout 2. The Enclave was able to do this by sending coded sequences to Vault 13's central computer, which activated a false all-clear signal, which in turn convinced the residents of Vault 13 that they can now return to the surface. But they were simply greeted with gunfire and abduction. If not for the Overseer's refusal to permit the Enclave to enter Vault 101, residents here would have met a similar fate. Vault 101 will forever be remembered as one of the most synonymous locations connected to the Fallout series, as this was the location where many newcomers to the Fallout series, such as myself, had first experienced it. This was the location which bears the strongest connection to the main player protagonist, as each decision and choice you make greatly determine the fate of the vault itself. Once we leave the vault for the second time, there is no returning, no reunions, just a question mark which depends on what you did. This has been an overview of the story and lore of Fallout 3's Vault 101. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. And in the comments, let me know what your favorite vault of the Fallout series is. Depending on how this video does in terms of views, watch time, I might just make another narrated deep dive video such as this. I really hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and stay safe out there.